Can you put cold engine oil into a hot engine? Well, this video explains. Hello and welcome, and I'm making this video upon request because there are situations where one would wonder if it's okay to use cold engine oil in a hot engine. And when I say hot engine, I mean one that's up to working temperature. And I don't really blame them for wondering, because there isn't really a lot of information about this out there. And so some of the reasons people may want to know this is that the operator either wants to perform a service on the vehicle and therefore has warmed the engine up to working temperature to drain the oil when the oil's thinner, and then they want to know if it's okay to place fresh cold oil into the engine when it's hot. Or they've been running the engine for a little while and stopped the engine just to have a quick check of the oil and it's not quite up to the right level and they want to add to the oil. If it's either one of these, then the quick answer is yes, of course you can. But what some people tend to consider is that hot oil is slightly more expanded than it is when it's cold. So what I'm saying is, if there's a certain level of hot oil inside the engine here, then according to this, there's quite a possibility that there isn't actually this much, because when it goes cold, it will go lower because it's contracting. But in this instance, where we're putting cold oil into hot oil, depending of course how much cold oil we put in the engine, then we're going to end up somewhere with sort of warm oil. It's less of a problem here. In fact, getting the oil level in the middle of those 2 points on the dipstick means that this has all been taken into consideration. All the expanding and all the contracting of the oil inside the sump. As long as we're in between those points, we're good to go. Okay, so in the situations where this oil is hot, it's of a thin viscosity. It won't cling so well to the measuring end of the dipstick. It will be less visible. So when we're trying to accurately check the level, we need to be mindful of this. Extra vigilance is necessary. And so in the situation where we're servicing the engine, so we're warming the engine up to working temperature and then draining it off, then we're refilling it now with cold oil. Well, in this instance, we're not adding cold oil to hot oil. We're simply adding cold oil into a hot empty engine. And doing this is absolutely fine, no problem whatsoever. And what you'll tend to find this time when you're checking the dipstick is that there's a more definite oil mark because the oil is that much thicker, so it will stick to the dipstick better. So let's just finish off with summarising some important points about changing oil, whether it's in a hot engine or not. First, we need to be parked on a level surface. We turn the engine off and then we wait a little while for the oil to drop down. I usually wait between 10 and 15 minutes. And then check the dipstick to see how much oil is actually in the engine before we start. And any oil that needs to be added can be added in small increments whilst checking the oil level in between. Ensure that the dipstick is fully inserted down into its tube to get the correct level. And always be extra vigilant of the oil mark on the dipstick itself to get the right level. Consult your owner's service manual that comes with your vehicle before you undertake any work. And depending on your level of experience and confidence, it's a good idea to consult a service professional. And so adding cold oil to a hot engine during a service, basically when you've drained your hot oil and you come to replacing your oil, you just simply pour in your cold oil and everything's absolutely fine. The engine will be more than willing to accept that, and indeed its very design will allow it to do so. And the principles of what we've been talking about applies to all types of four-stroke machinery. So it's not just cars, lorries and vans and that sort of thing, it's lawn mowers and four-stroke brush cutters, all types of four-stroke garden machinery, and diggers to bulldozers. Basically, if the machine has a four-stroke engine, then the principles of what we've been talking about apply. If you have benefited from this video, then please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done already. Thank you so much for watching.